Hello, welcome. Welcome to our restore class. We get to wind down and completely reintegrate today. We're going to start seated today for our class. And so you can make your way to your mat. Make sure you have any props that you need available. So you can have traditional yoga props, some cushions, some bolsters, blocks, blankets, straps, whatever you usually need to make your practice as supported as possible, especially for a restore practice. This is not about straining or adding stress. This is our chance to fully drop in and nourish the body and nourish the not only the muscles and the ligaments and the connective tissue, but also the nervous system. So it helps to have something that is there to support. If you don't have traditional yoga equipment, anything that like cushiony, like couch cushions or pillows or toilet paper rolls as blocks sometimes work, books with blankets over top, folded towels, all of this would be useful. And so I will make my way to the mat as well, and we can begin. So when we come to seated, it's always useful to have something underneath the buttocks to lift the hips up and and keep them a little bit higher than the knees. This puts the pelvis in a nice neutral position, as opposed to a lot of us will have that tilted forward or tilted backwards pelvis as we're sitting, and it closes off the front body quite a bit. And so this helps to prop that up. We don't want to tilt too far forward either and scrunch the low back either. So finding that neutral pelvis. And then everything else can just settle in. You can soften the eyes or close them completely. And start to drop into your body, your breath. Start to settle into your mat. As we sit here, we collect ourselves by tapping into tangible, here and now sensations. For many of us, this may be easiest to tap into sensation on the skin, or the sensation of the earth underneath us. For others, it might be sounds or light, or the breath, the rhythm, the rate, sound, the feeling of how it affects the entire body. But as you continue to draw yourself back to tangible sensations of the here and the now, you watch as everything else starts to settle. This week, I'm looking a lot at how we can realign, reintegrate the pieces of us that either get forgotten, scattered, the pieces of us that get hidden, stuck, or that overtake the others. What are the tools we have available to reclaim all these pieces, all these parts, this beautiful tapestry of what makes us up on purpose? And acknowledge beautiful uniqueness and strength that lies in acknowledging all levels and layers. As we move through today's practice, we set the intention to meet our bodies where they're at, moving within a pain-free range of motion, tapping into the messages from our body, finding that difference between discomfort that leads to growth and discomfort that leads to strain and stress. As I said, especially in a restore practice. So take breaks as needed, change shapes as needed, coming into one step before or adding props and support. If you get to that place where things make you hold your breath, clench your teeth, block the energy flow, slowly start to open our eyes. 3 times we'll inhale our arms up and away. Exhale back down through the center. Inhale, gather in all those parts of you, reclaim them. Exhale, draw them into your heart. Last time. Beautiful. Now we're going to open our arms nice and wide, palms facing forward, chest open. You can even come into a slight heart opener. And as we exhale, we're going to hug everything in. Give ourselves a hug. Inhale, reach. Exhale, Inhale and exhale. Let's do that 3 more times, changing the orientation, which arm comes on top, either alternating or the last 3, you do the other arm. 1 more. Gather that in and hold it here. And then release. Let's inhale, reach those arms up overhead and stretch. And as you exhale, draw the hands behind the back of the neck, behind the base of the skull, almost as if you're lifting the head up and out of the neck, elongating it. Again, we'll come into a little flow here where as we inhale, those elbows come back, we open up like butterfly wings, and then as we exhale, we draw in. Inhale. This time getting a little bit more of the spine involved. You can draw that belly button in on the exhale. Moving to your breath in your range of motion. 2 more. Beautiful. Coming all the way back up. Bring the arms down beside you. We're going to tip the head over towards the left shoulder. You could walk the right hand out onto the fingertips a little more to really lengthen that area between the top of the head and the fingertip. If you need a little bit more, you could even gently traction the ear up and away. And then all the way up, take the left arm down, right ear towards the right shoulder, walk those left fingertips out. And then perhaps a little traction up and away the left ear. As we work through today's practice, we keep breathing and we continue to visualize every inhalation, gathering everything in our soul's arms, gathering, scooping, collecting the parts of us. And as we exhale, everything integrating, coming into the center. We can also think about inhaling, gathering these things, and as we exhale, our body can tell which things we're going to keep, and if there's anything that needs to release, anything that is not yours, we let it go. So let's sit here for 3 breaths with that visualization, setting it into our mind's eye so that we can continue this throughout the practice. Inhaling, gather, exhale, settle and sort. Fill the body up. Exhale, return to the center. Last one. Beautiful. We're going to come over onto hands and knees, moving away anything that doesn't need to be around. And just very slowly with your breath, 5 times cat and cow, inhaling, opening the front body, making any extra movements you need to, exhaling, curling it out. Continue that. Making the breath smooth and long, getting some movement in the vertebral column now, in the hips and the shoulders. And after that last round of breath, we come back to neutral. We bring the knees apart, toes together, sit the hips back towards the heels, come into a child's pose. So perhaps your child's pose is all the way on the earth. Perhaps you need to stack your hands or props in order to catch your head, or perhaps you even need some support for the torso as it comes down. If you have a bolster or a couch cushion to do this with, you may need to turn your head to one side to begin with, and I'll tell you halfway through where you can switch the direction you turn. So which pieces and parts of you do feel scattered? It depends on the day. But often our thoughts can race, our emotions can get scattered and overtake or feel like a cyclone. Our energy can feel chaotic or like you've given too much away. We'll switch the direction if your head was turned one way. Physically, we lose sight of what we're doing with our limbs sometimes, how we're holding ourselves, how we overextend or underactivate. We may not always be mindful of how we're treating our body. So we take this time to gather, to reclaim all these things, our body parts, our biochemical processes inside, our breath, our thoughts, our emotions, our energy. And how do we do this? Through breath, first and foremost. And by awakening those stuck places through our shapes, through the practice. Come all the way back up onto hands and knees. And we're going to bring that right leg forward into a low lunge. Now remember that back knee may need some extra cushioning for more support. And so you can put a cushion or a pad, a folded blanket, towel, or a folded mat under there. So we're coming into this low lunge here. And it's going to be a little bit more active at the beginning here. We're pressing ourselves up onto that front thigh. If that is a little bit too much there, you could always have something to place your hands on, blocks or a bolster to stay in that lower position. And then we'll just lean on that front thigh. Draw the legs towards each other for a moment and feel the strength. Gather everything in, and then let the hips and the pelvis draw forward and down to the best of your range of motion here. We don't need to hold this one for too long, but we're just awakening the hips. You've got those extensors and adductors on that front leg, hip flexor of the back leg. Beautiful. And then we're going to extract ourselves out of that side and move to the other side. Left foot steps forward. We find a place where the front knee is bent, not beyond the ankle, just above. The back knee is as far back as it'll go. And then we perhaps press ourselves up. To find our balance, we draw the legs towards each other and activate some muscle energy. Draw those hips in line. And then once we've grounded and strengthened, we can let those hips fall forward and just lean on that front thigh. Head and neck are neutral. Scan the face, the ears, the neck and shoulders for tension that doesn't need to be there. And just hang out. For a couple more breaths here. And then slowly extract yourself from that side. You can do any wiggles that are needed. So now we'll come into lizard. And again, if you have any props, it may help to bring the floor closer to you. We'll draw that right leg forward again. And this time, bring both hands to the inside edge of that right foot. You may just stay here and sigh the heart down, or you might be able to come down onto your elbows if you have some support there. Release your head. Continue to inhale and acknowledge all the different levels, all the different layers, all the different parts that might be talking to you. And exhale, we integrate, we sort, we settle. Slowly press yourself up and extract yourself from that side. And we'll go to the other side. Left foot comes forward, knee bends to about 90 degrees. We bring both hands to the inside edge of that left foot and either sigh the heart down here, or perhaps come down onto elbows if you have props underneath, or if you can reach the floor. Release to the head and the neck. And just notice. Be the observer. One more nice deep breath here. And slowly press yourself up. Extract yourself on that side. And then we're going to come into a child's pose again with whatever supports you need. Reintegrating, letting the body take all that information and weave it into the cells, in a cellular, genetic, and energetic level. And then slowly we make our way up. We're going to be coming into a supported twist. If you don't have a cushion or bolster, you can do this on the floor as well. You're going to come onto one side. So I'm coming onto my left hip. You could be all the way down on the floor. So you slowly start to lower yourself down onto your elbows so that you're facing the floor. And then this may be where you stay. You might be able to come all the way down, supporting your head when your hands are a pillow. Otherwise, you take that cushion or folded blanket or folded towel and you bring it right up into that left hip. And again, see if you can lay your heart down onto that. You could have the head turned to the right, or you can turn it towards the left for a more intense twist. Or you might have it straight down with some support underneath the forehead. And we hold here. Very ever so gently. Manipulating that tissue. Ever so gently tugging it into direction that it is designed to be able to do, but with life and posture and activities, it gets stuck. It loses its knowledge of how to do these things naturally. We're here to claim that. And also start to give it new information. Slowly turn the head back. Take a moment if your head was twisted in the opposite direction. And then press yourself up. And we'll go to the other side. Instead of flipping over, changing sides, we come on to our left side. We turn the body towards the earth and start to lay it down, deciding if we want to look to the left, if we want to support our forehead looking down, or look to the right. An important part with working with ourselves is to really say yes and accept all these parts of us, even the ones that have lost their function, even the experiences that were not ideal or uncomfortable. We still acknowledge every memory, every piece of information, every experience we've taken in is part of us and has brought us to where we are. There are many we wish wouldn't have happened. But we also have the power, the ability to integrate them and grow. So we gather all those experiences, all the things we've learned and relearned, on the body, mind, and spiritual plane. And we claim them, we acknowledge them, even thank them. And we release what we don't need. We integrate all of these, process, digest. Slowly turn your head the other way if it was twisted. Settle for a moment. And then slowly press your way up. Beautiful. So we're going to make our way to our backs, but with the support, if you still have it. Another way to create support for the back and a little bit of heart opening is with books or blocks behind creating a bit of a bolster, but you would have to put a folded towel or blanket on top to make it a little bit softer so that your body can relax on there. So we're going to bring that support right up into us and lay our body back, our torso back on there so that we can feel that sacrum drop down towards the earth underneath. And then the torso, the ribs, the heart are supported, the backs of the shoulders, so that we can come to a bit of a heart opener. Shoulders are falling back towards the earth. And walk our feet in towards each other and let the knees fall out to the sides. Now, if you do need to feel safer here, bringing pillows or blocks or anything to support the thighs as they come down, to catch them, that is helpful. To allow yourself to fully release. Arms are just comfortably at the sides, palms open. To allow those shoulders to fall back. If you need an extra pillow, extra height behind the head for the neck, you can always add some height. Here we're reprogramming the front body that so often stays protected, and for good reason. We all want to feel safe. It may be a default pose. When we are safe, can we open up? Can we let that fascia, the front of the shoulders, of the chest, the abdomen, the hip flexors, in this pose, the inner thighs, can we let it breathe? By opening up here, we become receptive to new information. We open up to the parts of ourselves that may have been forgotten or pushed aside. So we acknowledge and integrate. Any thoughts or feelings that come up. Again, can we receive from them? And then how can we integrate this? Let go of what no longer serves us. And move on, move forward. We know that even with release, all of these things, past, present, familial, generational, never get rid of them completely. But we can find productive ways to weave them into who we are, how we show up for ourselves. how we show up for the world around us. Two more deep breaths here. And then slowly help those legs back towards each other. And stretch the legs out in front along the mat. If there is a cushion underneath you, this is a supported Matsyasana fish pose. Palms can now turn down towards the earth. Forearms are resting on the earth. If you don't have that support underneath you, you can boost yourself up onto the elbows for a full fish pose. Or just stay laying here long from head to toe. Letting go into the earth underneath you. Feeling fully supported to the entire backside of the body. For the last few breaths, if you'd like a little bit more of this fascial stretch up the front side of the body, you can take the arms up overhead, thumbs towards the earth as you reach. Feel the side bodies elongate. Really tap into the expansion of the ribs on the inhalation. Feeling bright. One more breath here. And then slowly roll off the side of your prop, if there is one. And we'll return to our backs on the floor. You can bend the knees for now. Let the knees fall in towards each other. Feet hip width or wider into repose. Letting that pelvis settle. Easing any strain from the change of position of the low back. And lock those feet in. We're going to take the right leg in towards us. You can either hug through the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. Maybe just stay here and let that leg settle. If you'd like to go further, you can extend the left leg along the mat. Start to tap into the patterns you see here as you inhale. We feel that expansion. We even feel the leg press up against the hands. As you exhale, everything settles in, plugs in a little deeper, including the shoulders falling back towards the earth, the femur bone getting heavy towards the floor, heavier into the hip socket. Now bring that knee away from you a little bit. And as if there's a string between the left shoulder and the right knee, that knee's going to come slightly across the body. The hip doesn't come off the floor, but we just feel that string shorten a little bit, that connection between the knee and the opposite shoulder. As we get a little bit more of this fascial pull, very subtle, but deep along those abductors on the lateral edge of the hip, the leg. And then slowly release that. Bend both knees again, feet on the floor. Let the knees fall in towards each other. Let that settle. Walk the heels back in. We draw that left knee up, either holding behind the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. Settle back with the shoulders. Decide if that right leg can stretch out along the mat. And we hold. Finding some peace. A little more peace with every exhale. Reminding the connective tissue, the ligaments, joints, the muscles, tendons, back to their original length, original elasticity, original range of movement. Very gently, ever so gently and subtly, bringing them into shapes. They may not get to spend a lot of time in. Acknowledging and accepting the scar tissue, the knots, trigger points. The congestion. Learning how to move forward. And then we'll bring that knee away a little bit and take it slightly across the body as if there's that string now between the right shoulder and the left knee. And without taking that hip off the ground, we hold it here. Feeling the outer hip. Anything that's restricting the movement, just gently breathing some space. One more breath here. And then releasing that knee, bending both again. I'm going to bring my arms up overhead. You can too, it's optional. Into a diamond, the index fingers touching, elbows bent out to the side. Knees will be falling in towards each other again. And again, breathing some length into the side bodies. Up through that inner aspect of the arm. You can keep your legs like this. If you have something to place under the knees, you can slide that under and let those legs extend out so that the hips can settle, the knees are bent. Everything feels long and natural. Let's bring our arms up towards the sky, fingertips reaching to the ceiling, and then let those shoulders fall back. And then we'll let the arms bend as if we're going to hug ourselves again. First right over left. Just touching the opposite back of the shoulder, lateral shoulder. Elbows pointing straight up to the sky. Let gravity draw those arm bones down to the earth. Inhale, reach up. Cross the left over the right this time, and same thing. Let everything fall. Let it nestle. And then reach back up and find a comfortable position for your arms. If there's anything else that needs to move through your body before your Shavasana, go for it. If you need to adjust and find a new place for Shavasana, go for it. Find a place that you can hold for 10 minutes or longer and completely and totally let go. Taking all this new information, the experience of this class, and letting it weave its way into every cell, every nook and cranny of the body. The support, the safety, the feelings of flow, mobility, and space. All these things can be returned to, especially once it's in your cellular memory. Every layer, every level of the body. Stay here for as long as you can. And I will see you again. Make sure you thank yourself before you get up and go on with your day or evening or into sleep. And I thank you for sharing this with me. The light in me bows to the light in you.